Hi everyone and welcome back to another episode of Techno Shots. I'm Tanvi Kanchan, Head of Strategy and Vice President in Anand Rathi, and I shall be taking you through what exactly is inflation and why and how relevant is it while making any investment decisions or while looking at your portfolio allocations and so on. Now, what exactly is inflation? Inflation, by mere definition, is the rate at which your currency depreciates over a period of time and the value of goods and services increases. Now, what does this mean in very clear or absolute term? It means that the purchasing power of your currency decreases and the value at which you would be able to buy, say, 10 commodities 20 years back, today at the same price you will not be able to buy those exact 10 commodities. And why does this happen? This happens because of the very clear phenomenon of inflation. Inflation ends up eroding the purchasing power of your currency, something that you were able to afford with the same value back 10 years, 20 years, 30 years back. You would not be able to afford the same number of goods and services right now. Now, looking at Bloomberg's worldwide inflation data, India's average inflation is considered to be somewhere around 8%. Now, assuming a commodity costed you somewhere around 100 rupees back in 1979, that same commodity right now will cost you somewhere around 2,400 rupees. Now, this is considering government's 8% inflation rate that's prevailing. Now, the reason why the government's inflation may or may not be what your own inflation is because the components that are considered in that inflation. Government puts almost about 45% of the allocation towards food and beverages. Now, at an individual level, your inflation consists of various lifestyle upgrades, your life, the way you live your life, and the various commodities that affect your own lifestyle. So, for instance, education inflation has increased by around 11 to 12%. Your real estate has gone up by almost 13 to 14%. The value of airfares has increased by 8 to 9%. So, if your own lifestyle has all these components, so your inflation can be somewhere in the range of 10 to 12%, which is way higher than the government estimates of 8%. Now, taking the same example that we took before, assuming that a commodity costed 100 rupees like in 1979, with your own inflation, that same commodity is going to cost somewhere around 10,400 right now. So you see the graph has shifted phenomenally just because of the fact that your inflation has increased over a period of time, and that happens because people's standard of living changes. Now, how relevant is this, or how much of an effect does this have when you're making any investment decision? Let's come back to the investment world. Now, a lot of times we invest in safer assets. For example, fixed deposits or FDs are considered as relatively safer assets to put our money in. These assets gives you somewhere around 7% returns. Now, if your inflation is somewhere around 10% or 12%, investing in fixed deposits ends up eroding almost 75% of your total wealth in a period of 30 years. This happens because FDs gives you 67% while your inflation rate is somewhere around 10 to 12%. That gap, even though you're investing, ends up actually eroding or causing a capital loss over a long period of time. Hence, when we say that inflation needs to be a big factor while deciding your portfolio allocation strategy, this 75% loss of capital is exactly why we say that inflation needs to be a major factor while deciding your investment strategy or portfolio allocation strategy. So, what exactly you need to look at? Whenever you're deciding any portfolio allocation strategy, you need to understand what exactly is your target. My main objective. Your objective needs to be clearly defined. You need to have a targeted return. Your targeted return should be such that it is sensible and over a long period of time. And B, you also need to ensure that you have a targeted benchmark. Now, this benchmark needs to be such that at least it beats inflation. So, inflation is your bare minimum benchmark. You need to ensure that your targeted return is such that it is beating the inflation, or as we saw earlier, it ends up eroding your purchasing power, or it ends up eroding your capital. So A, targeted returns, B, benchmark. That's how do we exactly manage our wealth while also understanding the prevailing risks that are applicable to us. In shorter period of term, volatility plays a major factor in the portfolio. You see market movements. We look at the way Nifty or Sensex goes up and down. Volatility in the shorter period of time has a big impact on the portfolio. But over a longer period of time, if you look at volatility and inflation both together, volatility is far less of an impact on your portfolio as compared to inflation. Inflation keeps on eroding your portfolio, whereas volatility, if we look at a protracted period of time, the line or the graph that we see so crazy up and down, it almost becomes like a straight line. So your in terms of wealth creation, there are two objectives as we saw. There is return expectation and there is managing risk. Now, what exactly is this managing of risk? When we look at managing risk, we look at quantitative numbers in terms of risk management. We look at things like standard deviation. Standard deviation is nothing but the deviation of returns from your expected number. So, for example, if your return expectation is 10 and your standard deviation is say 50, that means your deviation is extremely high. Your portfolio is prone to the market risk or market volatility. We need to have a portfolio with a lower or a more controlled standard deviation. To look at something that is more professionally managed, which is more actively managed. So, for instance, if we take mutual fund data, back in 1995 when mutual funds were first introduced, say if someone had used absolutely no selection parameters, looked at no quantitative numbers or qualitative numbers of your mutual funds, and you are just blindly invested in those prevailing mutual funds that were there, as of 31st of March 1995, if you had invested 23 years after that, the mutual funds that you had invested in generated a 37 times return expectation, which is almost a 26 times alpha over Nifty. So not only did it beat inflation, it also ended up making more, that is 26 times more than your Nifty also. So this, without any selection parameters, blindly if an investor had invested, this is the kind of alpha that a professionally managed asset had generated. Now, this is the reason why we stress on something that is more professionally managed. These are not only good products or good vehicles to invest in, but they also act as a cushion and they also act as a good parameter to understand that your portfolio is well protected even during volatile times. When we look at the portfolio protection, we also need to understand the taxation part of it. So let us look at the debt part. In debt, we have FDs, we have debt mutual funds, we have debt structured products, and so on and so forth. If mutual fund and FD, assuming that both of them gave you 7% returns, if you invested 100 in FD and in debt mutual fund, after 3 years, that is after a long-term period that is considered as 3 years for debt mutual fund, the debt mutual fund would have ended up giving you a higher return post-tax as compared to FD. Now, why is this happening? This is because of the benefit that your debt mutual fund gets in terms of indexation. Over a longer period of time, that is over 3 years period, debt mutual fund enjoys an indexation benefit, which ends up giving it or which ends up enabling your investments in debt mutual fund to yield a better return, to yield a higher return post-tax as compared to FD, even if they were giving a pre-tax same percentage of return. So this is what we mean by selecting assets or selecting your products in a way that not only enables a good risk management or a good return orientation, that is both your objectives in terms of return and risk are met, but also ensuring that post-tax return, your capital erosion doesn't happen even there. Thus, to summarize, inflation does play a very major role while deciding your portfolio allocation strategy. So while risk is unavoidable, it is also manageable, and a key to good portfolio management is risk management. We cannot park all of our money in risk-free assets or perceived risk-free assets like bank FDs or all, because they end up eroding your capital over a period of time. So while we take a certain degree of risk while our portfolio allocation, we also need to ensure that our targeted return is met while beating your inflation as your benchmark. How do we do this? We do this by looking at different asset classes. We do this by diversifying our portfolio in these asset classes that meet our own
risk taking capabilities. We look at equity, we look at debt, we allocate say 50-50, 60-40, etc. as a percentage in all of these asset classes or different asset classes basis our target and basis our risk taking capabilities, and thus look at the total weighted average that our portfolio generates at the end that is in line with our main objective. And a key to a good portfolio management is managing this part of the risk. If you do want to look at different asset allocation strategies or different portfolio strategies, you can also go download our mutual fund app. In the Anand Rathi mutual fund app, there are various baskets that are already created, model portfolios that are already there, taking into account your risk taking capabilities and also your return orientation. So there are moderate portfolio, there is a conservative portfolio, there is an aggressive portfolio that suits different investor needs and different targeted return. So thank you, and that's it from my end.